Hi, this is John from 2393S Valor. Today I'm going to be showing you how to store an image on an SD card and then have the brain display that image in Prose 4. Now, firstly, I need to mention that I made one tutorial that is before this one explaining how to display an image to the VEX brain with a C array file that is stored directly in the program's memory. Now, that takes a long time to upload, and so it's inconvenient, but if you don't have an SD card, don't worry, you can watch the other tutorial. Let's get things rolling by converting our logo into a binary file. Now, the image converter no longer supports this as it used to in LVGL 8 and earlier versions. So instead, they say go to the Python image converter. So you can go there and you can go ahead and download the script. Now, I just done this because I was trying this earlier. And now you can try to run the script. First, you need to go to the directory, so cd, something like that, and then you can run Python 3. Because see, I went to the current user, and then I went to my download folders, which is where you can see the Python script is held. And then we can just run LVGL image.py. Yes, you would like terminal to access download. And it's going to say, hey, it doesn't know what PNG is, so we need to import PNG. Here is the library you need to install to resolve this issue. If you're able to run that command with no errors, congratulations, just move ahead. Else, if you're like me running this on a newer computer, you're going to need to make sure you run this project inside of a virtual environment, this Python script. That is the safer, newer way of doing this. So now let's say you're also getting this error. It's going to tell you what to do. You're going to want to make a virtual environment. Here I'm going to save that environment right to my downloads folder just so you can see it. So boom, there it is. You can see it just made inside of downloads this virtual environment. I'm now going to follow this suggestion right here. So the previous command just activated the virtual environment, and we told it where that virtual environment lives. Now you can use this virtual environment to follow the rest of the tutorial as normal. So I'm going to go to downloads. You can probably just drag the file directly into your terminal and it'll have the path. So now I'm here in downloads, here in the terminal. And I can run image script. And it's going to give me an error, and it's going to say you need to install this dependency. So we're just going to simply install it. And then we are going to press up arrow twice to try to run again the program. It's going to say you're going to need to install this other dependency as well. So we're going to install that too. So now we should be able to run the program. And it's going to say, wait a moment, you need to be able to pass in some arguments. So let's take a look at the arguments it wants us to pass in. It wants us to enter it in like this. We're going to enter in the script name, followed by the format, which in our case we want to be a binary output. Next, we're going to tell it to use this color format, which is what CF stands for. And this is not going to have transparency or alpha, and you'll see what that will look like later when we end up loading the image from the SD card. Next, we are going to not worry about the other parameters, although you could do things like the background color, but we do need to give it a name. Looks like color format needs to have 2 dashes. Same with output file format, needs to have 2 dashes as well. It's going to be called logo. Hopefully this works. And then what image do we want to convert? So I should have the image here. Well, I have there it is. I have the image. So this should run And we can see here in our downloads folder, the same directory that we're in the terminal, there's an output. And see, here's our binary file. Now the next step is going to be to get your SD card configured. Alright, so here I'm going to go ahead and insert my SD card into my laptop. I have to use this SD card reader here, an external one. And I can go to disk utility. We should find Valor, and it's formatted with FAT32. So you're going to need to make sure that when you erase it, you format it as FAT32. Very important. So now that we have the SD card formatted properly, we can simply take the logo, we can drag it in. And we want to eject the SD card, and now we can insert the SD card into the brain. Like so. It should pop in nicely. Make sure you get that in the right direction. It won't go in the wrong direction, so don't force it in. You are almost done with this tutorial.
At this point, I'm going to assume that you were able to run the Python script, get the SD card formatted correctly, that is FAT32, and then be able to insert the SD card into the brain. So,
I'm copying the code from the first tutorial I made, which was displaying an image just directly from a C file that is stored directly on the brain's program. So we're going to change one little piece of code, and that would be here. We're going to pass in the source data. This time we're going to pass in from the SD card. I believe that's what this stands for, is like external media. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to pass in logo.bin because that's the name of the file. So we're going to display image from file. Now, optionally, you could just put that right here. But I like passing it in via the function. We should be able to upload this program. And when we run it on the brain, we can see that it prints the logo to the brain, but as you can see, there's that black background. So if we had formatted this in some sort of alpha format, that black background would not have been there. Or optionally, we could have configured the background when we ran the Python script. Alright, thanks for watching the tutorial. Be looking out for more, because I may or may not, depending on how chaotic life gets, put out some more LVGL videos or other robotics videos. So thanks for watching to the end. Always check out the description. It's going to give you the most up-to-date information.